What is up? What is good, YouTube? It is NRGBZB back at it on the YT. How is everybody going? Today we are back on the OPTCG with the Arlong leader, and I wanted to do a little special segment on my personal take on the leader. Sure, this is a bunch of the cards that I personally would play with the leader, and I'm just gonna show a little guide for it, and then a bit of gameplay as well. So we're just gonna get started. First of all, the Arlong leader. This is the leader effect. Dawn attached to, when attacking, tap a Dawn, play up to one character card with cost 4 or less with trigger from your hand. So you need to attach 2 Dawn to the Arlong leader, and then have 1 Dawn active in your Dawn deck in your Dawn line, and then you need to rest that Dawn, and then you can play a character card with trigger, cost 4 or less from hand. So with a lot of these cards coming out, there's been actually a lot of good cards that can actually come out with this effect. Now for me, I think there's 2 ways that you can play Arlong, not including the East Blue, which in my opinion is kinda It's pretty iffy. But you can play the Wano package, or you can play the Fishman package. So for me, I tend to go Fishman package, and here's why. There's a lot of good Fishman cards that really go well with Arlong, especially things like Van der Decken, Kurubi, Chu, Hody Jones, Aladdin, Noah's Ark. But I'll tell you my basic play when I go around Fishman Arlong. So I would search with Kami, obviously. And then my first play would be probably the Aladdin Van der Decken play. So if you don't know, Aladdin is a blocker, and on KO, if your leader is the Fishman type, which is Arlong, you can summon a 3 cost or lower Fishman or Merfolk type character card from your hand. So because of that, you can, if they swing with a big leader, with a big character, you can block it with this and then play Van der Decken. There's a lot of plays that situate around Van der Decken. This card is pretty broken. It's very good. On play, you can trash a Fishman type card from your hand, or trash a Noah's Ark from your hand or field, KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters. So if your opponent, it doesn't matter if they have 1 cost or 10 cost, it doesn't matter. I would use it to just KO anything. So if they swing with a big card, I would block it with Aladdin, and when it dies, I can play this Van der Decken. Or when it dies, I could play Shirahoshi, which is also good. Shirahoshi is a blocker, which is good on its own, so when they're trying to go for game, we can block with this and then play another blocker. But at the same time, when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effects, place up to 1 card from the top of your deck onto your life, which it's a healer if it's KO'd by effects, and it's a blocker if they're trying to swing at you. So this is just a pretty good high value card in general. And it's good to play into with Aladdin, which is really good. I play Aladdin a lot. Moreover, on the Fishman package, we have Kurubi and Chu. Kurubi, on play if your leader has the East Blue type, rest up to one of your opponent's characters. So I would swing with Arlong with the effect active, then play the Kurubi, tap a card, and then I could play Van der Decken. Or if there's a card that my opponent has, we're going up the curve and they have like a 4 cost or lower, I would play Chu, KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 4 or less. We also have the 2K Hachan, which is also playable with the Arlong effect as a 4K swing, but it's a 2K, so it's nice to have. I really like how Arlong, because its leader effect is trigger, all the cards and support that it has also have triggers, so having those cards in life is really useful. That's why we play Hiyori most of the time. On play, you may put 1 top or bottom card of your life to your hand and put 1 card from your hand to the top of your life. So because of that, you can put things like Kurubi, Chu, this Arlong, this Hachan, on the Onami, just all of this. I'll get to those later, but you can play things like Brule. Brule is just a trigger blocker. There's nothing else really special with it. It is playable out with the blocker law, but it's just there as a good fallback. Having a lot of cards that you can put into life with Hiyori is really good. Alright, I might do this one at a time now. Just go from the top all the way down. And the first one is Hiyori. Okay, Hiyori says activate main, you can place this card in the trash. Play up to one cost 5 or less land of Wano type character other than Kozuki Hiyori from your hand into play, then draw a card. This card is pretty useful because Arlong, if you're on like 7 Dawn and you play the Arlong effect, you won't have enough for to play a 5 cost card like Kozuki Momonosuke. But if you play this card instead, it is really good for it's basically a 5 cost card when it needs to be, and also it has counters, so it's pretty useful in general. We have the Wano Searcher. It's a tap one. We have to tap a Dawn and rest this character to search one. It searches Wano country, but I think in this game it searches land of Wano as well. But yeah, I'm not too sure. We got Trafalgar Law, the 5 cost blocker which on play shambles is one of your characters. What I mean by that is it returns a character to hand and then it plays one from hand. But the one you play from hand is cost 3 or less. But the play that I get from this is pretty OD. So what I would do is I could play Vanderdecken just on its own on the field to KO a rested character. And then I could play this, and then Shambles Vanderdecken into my hand, and then play it again. Because it's not once per turn, I can just keep looping this. So if Vanderdecken's on the field, I can still reuse it with the law, so that's why I play it. We also have this Rosinante. This is good on the even curve, also on the odd curve as well, but on play, if you may rest this character and then play up to one green character with cost of 5 from your hand, so it can play things like Aladdin, Fishman, Fisher Tiger, and Law. So it's really good to just have. I don't play too many of this card. It's also a good card to trash with Arlong. We have this Rosinante, which is a blocker, and also this effect. Opponent's turn, if one of your rested characters would be KO'd, you may instead trash this character. So it's a blocker of effects and battle. So having this on the field is helpful, especially if you have, I don't know, just a card that you want to keep. I don't really play this card too much, but it's there to have if you need it. We have Arlong. On play, you may discard one card from your hand, and up to one of your opponent's rested leaders may not attack until the end of their next turn. I see there's a lot of leaders that tend to want to attack, and it really helps with their plays and their routes, but this stops all of that. This is really good against something like Black Yellow Luffy, of course. Just all leaders with when attacking effects, anything like that. We have Kami, which is just the Fishman Searcher. It searches top 4 for one Fishman or Merfolk type character, other than Kami, and reveal it and put it in your hand, then bottom deck the rest. I prefer using this searcher instead of the 2 cost Nami Searcher, just because even though there is some good stuff in the East Blue type, it's pretty outdated in my opinion. And another thing, the cards that I do want that are also East Blue type are also Fishmen, so using this instead of the Nami is pretty good. We have this Hachan. It's a good card, it's a body on the field. The trigger's decent. I don't see it being used too much. It could go crazy because of the trigger, play up to one Fishman or Merfolk type character with cost 3 or less from hand. So it can play Shirahoshi or Vanderdecken. So it's good if they swing at life. you take it, use this trigger, and then pop the character that they swung with. So it's got its uses. I don't think I see it in life too much though, but it might just be the way I place it in my deck. We have Van de Decken. On play, you may trash a Fishman type card from your hand or trash a Noah's Ark from your hand or field. KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters. This card goes crazy. Like if they have a 10 cost card, like a 10 cost rush character or something, I don't care. This card will just pop it. It doesn't matter if it's a 1 cost or a 10 cost, which I find really useful with this card. And there are a lot of plays using it too. You can do Arlong effect, play Kurubi, taps any character as well, 1 cost or 10 cost, doesn't matter. And then play Van de Decken. You can do Aladdin and block with Aladdin when they attack with a big high cost character, and then on KO play the Van de Decken and pop it as well. You can also do it with Hody Jones, where Hody Jones taps a character, and then you can pop it with Van de Decken. You can do it with the trigger for Noah's Ark, when it taps all your opponent's characters. We'll get to that later. And then use Van de Decken there. And then with the lore, like I said before, you can use the lore to reuse Van de Decken again. If it's on the field, you can bring it back and then play it. Or you can play Van de Decken from hand at the start of the turn and then play lore and then play it again. You can use it more than once per turn, so it's pretty useful. I would play 4 of these, at least 3. I think 2 or 1 is just not enough if you really want to get the play going. So 3 to 4 is my take on how many you should play. We got Hody Jones. It's a rush card. It's really good for endgame, but before I get into that, on play, it rests up to 2 of your opponent's characters and or Dawn, and then put the top of your life cards into your hand. So that life into hand is kinda costly, but because we're a yellow leader, it doesn't hurt too much. And also, we usually just use this flight to end games and stuff. It's really good for ending games. Like in some of my videos, I just clutch up with this. It's just really good in general. And so I usually play at least 2 of this because it's searchable and we only want it for end game. I think 2 is a good number, maybe 3. Not 4. I mean, 4 would be good if you want to use it if you want it to be trash fodder. But yeah, I think 2 to 3 is a good number for this card. Got Aladdin, 5 cost blocker. On KO, if your leader has the Fishman type, summon a 3 cost or lower Fishman or Merfolk type character card from your hand. So you can, like the player said before, you can block a big cost character that your opponent has played, and then play Van de Decken to just pop it, which is pretty good, in my opinion. It's a really good play, and it also plays Shirahoshi as well. It's a good card to have in general. It's a Merfolk, so you can't trash this card with Van de Decken, so just keep that in mind. Then we have Fisher Tiger. This one's from OP07. It's a 5 cost, and it technically has Rush, but it's only for characters. On play, if your leader has the Fishman or Merfolk type, rest up to one of your opponent's 6 cost or lower characters. So if it's really good, like I think it would be good in a situation like where they have a 5 cost blocker or maybe a 6 cost blocker, I don't know. Like the scenario I can think of is when Pudding plays that 6 cost Katakuri, and you can just get it out of the way with this Fisher Tiger, just KO it really quick before it can have a chance to do any big damage. So it's a good card to have. It's good to play into with the Rosinante. So it's good in general. I usually run like 2 copies of this. Then we have Pedro. Pedro is good when we're on the odd curve and we have 7 Dawn, and then Arlong uses its effect and that leaves us 4 Dawn. 4 Dawn's really good to just play into Pedro and then just pass. Also the same with this Hiyori. where we only have 4 Dawn left, but we want to get some value out of it, we can just play these cards. And Pedro, it's a blocker, and on KO, choose one. Rest up to one of your opponent's Dawn, or KO up to one of your opponent's cost 6 or lower characters. So it's pretty handy. It doesn't have trigger though, I wish it did, but it would make it pretty broken, so it's fair enough. But this card is good to have. I wouldn't really put it in my Arlong deck. It's good to just fill the space. It's got counter at 1000 as well, so it's good. It's also a slash trait, so you can play it with the Mihawk if you want to. And it is playable with the Mihawk because when it's played rested, it has the on KO effect, so people wouldn't really want to attack it. So it's playable in that sense. And now we have Kuina. Activate main. You may rest this character up to one of your opponent's 4 cost or lower characters. Rest up to one of your opponent's 4 cost or lower characters by resting this character, which kind of sucks. I hate that you have to rest the character, but it's only fair, I suppose. It has trigger though, so you can play with Arlong, and it can be played directly from life, which is really good. So it's a good engine to have. You can recycle this card on the early curve and just chew a bunch of cards. So you can have this card and chew. It's a pretty good combo for the start of the game. I would usually use this card just to fill the void personally. Oh, and by the way, these cards, I would definitely play 2 of these minimum, 2 of these minimum, 3 of these minimum, 4, 3 minimum, 2 to 3, 4, 4, 4, 2 to 4. Just to put that out there. Alright, now we have Mihawk. It's a 2k, which is good, and it's also a good body if you want. On play, if you have 2 or less characters, play up to 1 4 cost or lower Shigeru Kingdom type or slash trait character card for other than Draco Mihawk from your hand rested. So it's good for building board. You don't really build board in this way much with Arlong. You usually just get cards on the field with the leader effect. But using this is good, especially if you have cards, especially because Arlong has a lot of slash trait characters. Like Arlong, like Hachan, like Pedro. There's a lot of stuff you can do with slash traits that have good chemistry with Arlong. But I would run 4 of these just because it's a 2k. Okay, we have the Shirahoshi. This is definitely a must-have in an Arlong deck because of the fact that it's a blocker, and it's very playable on the curve. When it's KO'd by your opponent's effects, place a card from the top of your deck onto your life. So having this is basically a 2-cost healer, which I find very useful, and the fact that it's a blocker as well makes it very, very useful. It's a blocker for battle, and it's a healer for effects. So having this, at least 2 of these, is definitely good to have. Especially because it is playable with the Aladdin, it's playable with the Hachan, it's playable with the Law. So having it is really good. Capone. Trigger. One of your opponent's leaders or characters cannot attack during this turn. Play 4 of these. Just period. Moving on. Alright, Yamato. 9 cost, 9k swing. On play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost that is equal to or less than the total of life of you and your opponent. Then, if you have 1 or less life, you may heal 1. So, having this card is really good to have in late game. We are yellow deck, so we should have some healers. And having this is just really good for that. It doesn't play into the Arlong ability though, which sucks. Not a lot of guaranteed healers do. We have the 7 cost Big Mom, which I'll talk about later. It's not in here? I'll put it in here, hold up. Okay, but Yamato is really good for just keeping the game going, just keeping the grind up. Especially if your opponent is a very good stalling, grinding leader or deck. This is very good to have in those situations where they're trying to outgrind you. You want to have some outgrinding plays as well. So having this to heal and KO your opponent's board sometimes is a good card to have. And the fact that it's a 9k body is also really good. So all in all, I would say this is a must-have in an Arlong deck, and at least 2 is the number to have as well. We have Onami. Onami's a 2-cost 3k, counter 1000, on play, give up to one of your leaders or characters banished for this turn. So having this card is very, very useful, especially into leaders that like yellow leaders like Vegapunk or Eneru. Having this, you can attack with Arlong, and then play this card, and then this card gives Arlong banish before the blocker and counter stuff happens. So having this is really good. And then also on the next turn, like, you can use it as a swinging body as well, because we have John to spare on that turn. Like, if we're going first, on the 3rd turn we play this, on the 5th turn we attach 2 Don to this and play it with the Arlong effect. So it's good. It's a good card to have. I would say it's a must-have in an Arlong deck. At least 2. Okay, we have the Kawamatsu. When attacking, you may discard 2 cards, return up to one of your Power 0 characters to the top or bottom of the opponent's life face up. It's a 3-cost 5k with slash, and it has a trigger. Opponent's life is at 3 or less, play this card. I would play this card if you're running kind of a hybrid between Wano and Fishman type, just because it's a good bridge in between those. It has Fishman and Wano in it, so it's really good in that case. It has slash trade, so you can play it out with the Meatball. And its effect is good for just healing, just placing Hiyori up into life, or the other Hiyori, or the Momonosuke up into life. So it's good in that sense. I don't see that happening too many times, especially because the condition for that is so expensive. We have to trash 2 cards, so I don't really think it happens too much. I would play this if you're trying to do a hybrid between Wano and Fishman. And if you do play it, maybe just at least 2. Yeah, but moving on, just saying this first, this is a 4. You need to play 4 of these. You have to. If you're playing Wano package or Fishman package, you have to play 4 of this card. Kiku Nojo, 4-cost 6k slash attribute. With a trigger, if your opponent's life is at 3 or less, play this card. On KO, if your opponent's life is at 3 or less, heal 1. This card, I cannot stress this enough, this is a must-have in any Arlong deck. You have to have this card. Just the fact that like Arlong attacks into life, play this card, they take it, then they're at 3 life. It's just that easy. And then you have a healer on board, or at least a body that they cannot touch. So just please play this card, just please. Hiyori, if you play this card, definitely play on the higher end, maybe 3 or 4. Just because of the fact that it's a 2k and also it's on play effect. So on play, you may put the top or bottom card of your life into your hand, and then put up to 1 card from your hand into the top of your life. It's basically a shambles of your life. I love this card, especially when we have cards like Noah's Ark, we have cards like Kurubi, like Chu, like Hachan, like Arlong, like Capone, like Onami, like Kawamatsu, like Nekomamushi, like Kikunojo, like Ronorzoro, like Brule. We have everything. Everything. Arlong decks are filled with triggers, so this Hiyori just makes it 10 times better. You have to have this card in your deck. I would play 4. Just should definitely play this card for sure. Alright, moving on, we have Kosuke Momonosuke. This card is really good. 5k, 6k, 5 cost, 6k blocker. And on play, if you can place up to one of your Wano type characters other than Kosuke Momonosuke on the top or bottom of your owner's life face up. So this is a 5 cost healer basically. If you played Hiyori last time, you can play this card and then go for heal. It's a very good curve play. So if you're playing Wano package, definitely do this. If you're playing a hybrid package, definitely do this. And this card, just being a 5 cost healer is really good. And you can play it with this Hiyori as well. You can unfortunately not play it with Rosinante because it only plays green 5 costs. But all in all, I think at least 3 is a good number to have with this card. Then we have Nekomamushi. This card, it's very useful. I would say it's kind of broken, but just its effect is really good. And the fact that it's playable with Arlong. So it's a 4 cost 5k swing, counter 1k. Attached to Don, this character can attack active characters. So having this on the board just to get rid of an annoying card like Black Maria. Just that new purple Black Maria is so annoying. I hate it. So getting rid of it is so satisfying. And this card does exactly that. So I would recommend playing this card. At least 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. I would play 3, personally. We have Roanoa Zoro. It is a 4 cost 5k swing with counter 1k. No effects except a trigger. KO up to one of your opponent's 4 cost or lower characters. This is a good trigger, and the fact that it has a trigger also makes it very useful. But the main thing is the fact that it has the Wano type, so it's searchable with Momonosuke, and it goes well with all the Wano package. The fact that you can use it in the Wano package makes it really good. Unfortunately, Onami doesn't have the Wano type, so that sucks, but this does. And it has a good trigger, so playing this is very useful. I would definitely run at least 2 of these. Maybe I would run 3 actually, just because of that trigger effect. Very useful effect. Brûlé, it's a 3 cost, 1k swing, 1k counter blocker with a trigger. It's a free trigger. Play this card. So it's good just as an option to play with Hiyori, as an option to put in life when need be. And you can also play it out with the Trafalgar Law if you want to. So just in general, this is a good card. I would play this, at least 2 of these. Okay, next up we have the Charlotte Linlin, which is a 7 cost healer. Well, it's a 7 cost 8k swing, no counter, on play. Your opponent chooses one of the following effects. They either trash one of their own life or heal one of our life. So it's technically not a healer, but because Arlong is so aggro, it would put them in a situation where they would have to heal us in order to conserve their life. So I would say this is a good card to have, especially because it's 7k. If we have 10 done, we can do the Arlong effect and play this card, so it's pretty good to have. At least 2 of these is recommended. Flower Capital. I only put this in here just because of prejudice. Okay, hold on. Before I explain, I have to put this card in. There we go. So, having this card allowed me to unlock this certain play that I invented, like in my first Arlong video. It was basically, when we're at 10 Dawn, we would swing with Arlong, and then we would play either Kurubi, Brule, something with like a showstopper effect, like Onami or Beige. The main one is Beige, so we would use Arlong's effect to play Beige, and then we would use this stage, activate main, trash one card, that's Wano type, and rest is card. Restand one of your Dawn. So we swing with Arlong, then we're left with 7. We have Capone on the field, and then we have Flower Capital. Restands a Dawn, we're at 8 Dawn. Then we play Katakuri. On play, put one of your characters, one character with cost 8 or less on the top or bottom of its owner's life face up. So with this play, we can basically put Capone in the bottom of our life if we want to. We can add Capone to life in one play. And it's a free heal as well. No draw, no losing life. I mean, Hiyori's cheaper. I will say that, but I invented this play. I'm gonna stand by how good I think this play is. Me personally, I think it's a good play. Especially because we can get a body on the field with the Arlong effect. Well, actually we can't, because that body is going up. But technically, you can do this with the Yamato leader as well, but you don't get to do a swing with it. But yeah, we get a free 7k swing with it, play the Capone, and then we get a free heal as well, and plus the 8k swing. I guess I should explain Katakuri as well. On play, it puts one character with 8 or less on the top or bottom of its owner's life face up. You can use this as good removal for one of your opponent's characters, or use it to heal one of ours. Or use it to heal using one of our characters. But yeah, like I said before, you can use it for that cool little play. It's a good play. I like it. Me personally, I enjoyed that play very much. I'm gonna pull it off sometime. I think I pulled it off before, but yeah, it's kind of iffy. But I stand by it strongly. Alright, and the last card is Noah's Ark. On play, rest all your opponent's characters. It's a 6-cost stage, and that's its effect. And it also has trigger, which basically says play this card. So you can Hiyori it and put it up there, and also when it's on the field, you can Thunder Deck and trash it on the field to use its effect. So it's good in that scenario. You can also trash it from hand as well if you need to. So I would play at least 3 of these, just because it has a trigger. You can put it up there with Hiyori. Just keep using all that stuff. It's really good. Okay, I think that's all of the main cards that are prominent when playing an Arlong deck. And I will now show you some of the decks that I do have, which just for some inspiration. So we first have this competitive Arlong deck. It's basically my first competitive draft. It's not the one I mainly use, but as you can see, we have 3 of the Laws, 2 Kurubi, 3 Chu, 4 Hachan, 4 Arlong, 4 the Searcher Kami, 3 Vanderdecken, 2 Hodis, 3 Aladdins, 2 Kuinas, 3 Shiroshis, 4 Capones, 2 Yamatos, 4 Kikus, 2 Brules, 2 Linlins, and 3 Noah's Ark. The ratios of this are pretty good. It's just sometimes I struggle getting the Arlong effect off to play a good card on the field, like a proper card that I can swing with, like the Arlong or the Kiku, because the rest are just sort of effect-based plays, so they don't really have the capability of swinging. But that's my first draft. As you can see, we have the play for the Vanderdecken. We have No Hiyori in this one, which is weird. Let's look at the 101. Yeah, we have the 4 searches, the ores, we have katakuris, we have the play, that stupid play I invented. I should name it. Why don't you guys comment down what I should name it? But this is, this is the one where I try and do the play. We have the blockers. I've played this, it's fairly consistent. We also have this 2K. It's just a 2K. 102K. Just to fill the void. We also have the blocker Sanji. I need a... Okay, my bad. This Sanji. 4 cost 5K swing, counter 1K. It's a blocker and it has a trigger, so it's good to have. The trigger is you may trash 1 card from hand, play this card. Also, one more thing. Just gotta get that out there. Cracker. 4 cost 5K swing with slash attribute. Counter plus 1,000. Attach a Dawn. If you have less life than your opponent, this character gains double attack and 1,000 power. So it's good. And as a trigger, discard a card from him, play this card. So if you're trying to play Big Mom package with Arlong, I guess that's a thing. You would definitely play this card in the Sanji. I don't really play Cracker that much because of the fact that we're so aggro with Arlong, and because there's a lot of cards in the meta right now which tend to want less life, that this doesn't really come into play that much. What the heck is that? Huh. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Anyways, these proto ones are the ones that I mainly use when I play games. As you can see, we got the Onami and the Hiyori. I think the fact that I added these to my deck made it really that much better. We have the Fishman package, and we just have the main staples of the Wano package. It's not mainly Wano. And this one as well. We have some of the OP08 here. We have this Nami. I just like this card. For the trigger, for the effect. I just like the effect. On play, trash a card with trigger from hand and then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, and then draw a card if you have 3 or less cards in hand. So this card is good to have. It's not playable with Rosinante. I wish it was, but it isn't. That's unfortunate. But I do. It is a card too that you can use, and yeah, this deck is pretty good. I usually go between this first one and the second. But yeah, this is my little mini guide to Arlong. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will put some gameplay out, maybe not in this video, but I will put some gameplay out later on. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you later. Bye.